What's up, Blue Jay fans? Rob Scott of the Jay Talking Podcast back with another game day episode. Three in a row. Starting to get into the swing of things again, but I'm not bringing the Jays any luck. First place, Baltimore Orioles in the Rogers Center against the Blue Jays. Last place in the East. Last place in the majors. 1-7 on the season. A start nobody saw coming. But that's what they have to deal with. Baltimore 5-2 on the season. They got Kevin Gossman going tonight with a 5.4 ERA in his first start. Means nothing. And Francisco Liriano for the Jays. He's 0-0 with a 135 ERA. Thankfully, also means nothing. Just one sheet of paper tonight. That's how little's happening with this team. So let's get to the scoring right away. Top of five, Jonathan Scope with a double to score Wellington Castillo. That was 1-0 for Baltimore. That was all the scoring in the fifth. Toronto responded in the bottom of the second. J.J. Hardy followed that up with an RBI single to make it 2-0 Baltimore. That's in the top of the fifth. And the Jays in the bottom of the sixth get one back. Josh Donaldson doubled in Jose Bautista. And then Donaldson left the game again. More bad news on top of bad news. And that would be all the scoring, 2-1. Blue Jays lose. They put some excitement together in the ninth. Troy Tulowitzki could have scored from third. He did not. This team frustrates me with their inability to push guys along, be aggressive. There's a few things that you can't put on the coach, and there's some things you can put on the coach. And this is one thing you can put on the coach, and that's his lack of creativity around this offense. Again, I'm not bitching on them just because they're off to a slow start. I didn't like what was built on this team, and Gibbons is just playing the guys he's got, so that's not a whole lot he can do about that, but he can be more aggressive. He can move guys along. He can bunt, and he's just not doing it. It's just a one-dimensional team, and even when they were the beast offense they were exposed then too, because they were just station to station, hitting doubles, hitting home runs. This is going back 2 years now when they played the Royals in the playoffs. The Royals showed them what real baseball was. They didn't have the punch that the Jays had, but they had guys who just constantly hit the ball, made contact. The Jays have been a little bit better at not striking out so much this year. They're about the middle of the pack, but not drawing walks, not getting on base near enough. And when they are on base, they're not moving them along. So there's just so many holes that I saw before this season. And I hope it changes. But 1-8 now on the season. Again, last in the majors, last in the East. Baltimore goes to 6-2. For Baltimore tonight, they only had 5 hits, but the 2 runs were enough. They struck out 15 times. Walked just 2, didn't homer, didn't steal a base, left 8 men on base. Wellington Castillo, 1 for 4 with a run. Trey Mancini, 1 for 2 with a ribby. Jonathan Scope, 2 for 3 with a run and a ribby. And J.J. Hardy, 1 for 3 with an RBI. And that was all the scoring from the Baltimore's offense. Toronto's offense, Jose Bautista, 1 for 4 with a run. Josh Donaldson, 1 for 3 with a ribby. Troy Tulowitzki, 2 hits tonight, 2 for 4. Pilar and Barney each with a hit. Jay's offense punched out just 6 hits. So they went from 5 hits, 4 hits, 6 hits in the last 3 games. That's 15 hits total. 6 for 32, 3 walks, 6 Ks, and the 1 run. Baltimore pitching Kevin Gossman was good, who hasn't been against the Jays. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 3 Ks. The dirty Darren O'Day. He came in to pitch an inning, struck out a batter, got a hold, his first of the season. Brad Brack. I don't even know what I wrote here, and I don't have my glasses, and I'm not putting them on for you. He got his 4th hold of the season, though, with an inning and 2 Ks. And Zach Britton with a little bit of a shaky start again, or a shaky outing again against the Blue Jays. They put like 2 men on base against him the 3 times they faced him. But he wiggled out of it, pitched an inning for his 4th save. It's now 51 saves, going back to last season without a blown save yet. I don't know how many that goes back the year before. I don't know what kind of streak he's on for consecutive saves, but over 50 now for sure. And Francisco Liriano, another good pitching outing from the Blue Jays. He went 6 2/3, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 10 Ks. And his ERA went from 135 to 9. So he's getting better. And I got him on my fantasy team, so he's got to get a lot better. But nice outing for him. Joe Biagini, inning in a third, 2 Ks, and Joe Smith, an inning and 3 Ks. Again, that's 15 Ks for Blue Jays pitchers, but to no avail. So, again, I just want to quickly talk about the bullpen, and I think it's a weak point of this Blue Jays team, this and the offense. I've been saying that again since spring training, so I don't want to look like a guy that's just jumping on a bandwagon here. The slow start doesn't concern me so much. It's the shitty team that concerns me a little bit more. Certainly they shouldn't be 1-8, but this is where they are. Can you believe that they might be 10 games under 500 before the first month is over? That is incredible. And that is, even with the first month, that is a lot to fight back from when you got to get 90 wins to get in the playoffs. They got to be incredible for the remainder, the final 5 months. Incredible. Better than they can be. They can't be as good as they need to be to get to 90 wins if they fall under, 10 games under 500 after the first month. And the bullpen, which hasn't been awful so far, but it's been you can see a pattern coming together of 2 guys that they're going to consistently. Joe Biagini, for one, is now up to 7 1/3 innings in 9 games, so he's getting some heavy use. And Joe Smith, we've seen him a lot. And so I think you're beginning to see they're going to have to go to some of those weaker arms sooner or later. And I know they're doing that here and there, so don't tell me that I'm not seeing it. I am seeing it, but what I'm saying is they're relying heavily on Joe Biagini and Joe Smith, and they're both performing pretty well. So that's fine, but you can't they can't be on pace for 140 innings for a season. You're going to have to get those other guys in there that are a lot shakier, and that's what's going to happen. And we're going to feel it when it happens. But the starting staff has been brilliant. The offense obviously has been a league worst. Terrible. But they'll be better. But top 10, I can't see it. I can't see it. They'd have no depth if there's any injuries. They didn't deal with their left-handed power problems. They didn't bring in any speed whatsoever. They have no steals on this season. They have 1 steal attempt so far. That's it. I don't care if you have a team of slow guys. You got to push the envelope sometimes. You got to put pressure on the other team, and they're just not doing it. They're just not doing it. So anyway, that's enough of that crap. So tomorrow, 8:07 Atlantic time. They're at it again. Baltimore at the Rogers Center. That's 7:07 for you people in the Eastern time zone, and 8:37 for you newfies. And out west, it's 3 or 4 hours. I never know where it switches over. Just add 3 or 4 hours, will you? Get out your calculator and do it yourself. Baltimore now 6-2 versus Toronto 1-8. Aaron Sanchez on the hill. He pitched well in his first outing, got a no decision. And Wade Miley, who did not give up a run in his first his first outing, he also did not get a decision for Baltimore, and he walked 7. So we'll keep an eye on that. Anyway, thank you for joining me. We'll see you later.